The real reason Catelyn Stark freed Jaime Lannister after the Battle of Oxcross. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you love House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, and deep dives into Westerosi lore. Let's begin. The question that still divides readers. There are moments in A Song of Ice and Fire that are simple in their outward action, but monstrous in their implications. One of those is Catelyn Stark's decision to free Jaime Lannister. On the surface, it looks like the move of a woman trying to be merciful or foolish. Beneath the surface, it is a complex knot of maternal panic, political calculation, moral conviction, and fatal misreading. This video is not content with the simple headlines, "She freed him because she felt sorry for him," or "She did it to be honorable." Instead, we'll pry open the decision and examine every hinge. Catelyn's loyalty to House Stark, her perception of honor and law, the desperate needs of Robb's campaign, her maternal instinct for Sansa and Arya, the larger Riverlands politics, and the private pride and grief that push and pull her soul. By the end, we'll see that the real reason is not a single truth, but a layered logic, and also a tragic error. The immediate context: what did she have to gain? To understand motives, we have to start with leverage. In war, captured nobles are rarely prisoners in a modern sense. They're currency. After the engagement at Oxcross and the routes across the Riverlands, Jaime Lannister, a very high-value prisoner, fell into Stark hands. For Catelyn, the calculus was simple on paper. Jaime is worth more alive than dead. Think of a number of practical benefits Jaime represented. A bargaining chip for the North. Jaime was not merely a highborn captive. He was a Lannister of the first rank. Holding Jaime gave the Starks leverage for prisoner exchanges, for negotiating the fate of hostages, and for demanding concessions that could ease the war on multiple fronts. Catelyn understood medieval realpolitik. Hostages and ransoms were a common method of preserving lives and securing alliances. A ticket to Sansa. The foremost, urgent goal in Catelyn's mind was the safety of her daughters. Sansa was still in King's Landing under Cersei's control. Arya's whereabouts were uncertain. Jaime's captivity signaled the possibility of exchange. Jaime for Sansa or other Stark captives. Every noble had value. Jaime's was exceptionally high. Legitimacy for Robb's kingship. Robb was newly proclaimed king in the north. His ability to secure important prisoners and conduct negotiations bolstered his claim to lordship and might draw wavering bannermen closer. Showing that the Starks could use a captured enemy to secure their own was a way of acting like an independent political power. A check on Cersei and Tywin. Holding Jaime put pressure on the Lannisters at a strategic moment. It bought time, attention, and perhaps the chance to extract concessions that could tilt campaigns or forestall Lannister reprisals. Those are the clear, cold, tactical reasons Catelyn kept Jaime, and why freeing him would seem to negate those gains. So what pushed her toward release? The maternal imperative, Catelyn as mother first. When we speak of Catelyn's motives, we must always come back to one constant. She is a mother above all else. Catelyn's identity in GRRM's narrative is inseparable from her maternal role. From early in the saga, she is defined by her fierce protective instincts toward her children. Catelyn is the woman who would cross oceans, risk lives, and defy kings for a daughter. That instinct is not sentimental fluff. It governs her choices and warps her political judgment. Consider the emotional situation. Sansa's peril. Sansa was a hostage in King's Landing, subject to humiliation and political bargaining. Catelyn's knowledge of Sansa's vulnerability, mixed with dread over Joffrey's cruelty, consumed her. The human fear of losing a child is an overwhelming motivator. It frames decisions in a way realpolitik rarely can. The need to act now. Mothers do not bargain with time. Waiting for the ideal political moment to secure a hostage can feel like gambling with a child's life. To Catelyn, the immediate possibility of swapping Jaime for Sansa presented a clarity of purpose that trumped hypothetical future gains. It made sense in the moment. You may lose everything later, but you can secure your child's safety now. Proof of love, not cunning. Catelyn's release of Jaime can be read as an act designed to prove she will go to any lengths for her children, to demonstrate to Robb, and to herself, that family comes first. She is not merely doing politics. She is performing motherhood under fire. From this maternal vantage, freeing Jaime is not a reckless moral show. It is the only reasonable choice. Trade one highborn man for a child you love more than the realm. That logic is potent and sincere, but it is incomplete. Catelyn's code, honor, oaths, and the rule of law. Catelyn was raised in a house that prized oaths, duty, and the orderly conduct of noble life. She is no cynic about vows, even as the world around her collapses. Two ways in which her ethical code colors her decision. The belief in acceptable behavior. Catelyn sees herself as an enforcer of what remains of law. When an enemy has committed crimes or treacheries, it is fitting to hold them accountable, but it is equally fitting to act honorably when an exchange can right wrongs. Freeing Jaime under terms may have seemed to her a lawful, civilized way to resolve conflict, as opposed to murdering an unarmed captive or holding someone forever for spite. A sense of moral duty to protect innocence. In Catelyn's view, using Jaime to secure Sansa is not simply opportunism. It is an ethical imperative. The strong have a duty to shield the weak, and she believes the strong in her family, Robb, the Northern Lords, should use their power to do so. Beyond these, Catelyn is also politically conservative in the sense that she understands the stabilizing value of negotiated settlements. In a time of chaos, treaties and exchanges give the realm moments of order. She values those. But there is a danger here. A moral code can become a blindfold. That blindfold makes Catelyn susceptible to promising faith in the rules of men while other players act without rules. In the brutal chess of Westerosi politics, idealism is always costly. The political pressure, Riverlands, Riverrun, and the need for alliances. Catelyn is not just a mother and moralist. She must manage the politics of the Riverlands. Her decisions reflect pressures that are local as well as personal. Pressure from her bannermen. The lords of the Riverlands are restless. They have been ravaged by war. They want security, plunder, and stability. A long-term hostage like Jaime can be used to secure hostages, ransoms, or marriages that would stabilize Robb's realm. At the same time, many lords also wanted decisive action. They did not want endless bargaining that left the war unresolved. Catelyn had to balance her own aims against these expectations. Riverrun's symbolic position. Riverrun is a place of hospitality, tradition, and neutral ground. Holding Jaime at Riverrun posed a diplomatic statement. The Starks were not brigands. They were custodians of a noble captive. Freeing Jaime, or negotiating his passage, could be presented as honorable stewardship rather than weakness. The need to secure northern support. Robb's cause relied on unity between the River Lords and the North.